Well, it's a special Tuesday edition or Tuesday record of Dirty Mo Dough. We figured instead of watching the election coverage, the only thing that could be worse would be sitting here and talking about gambling and football gambling, which we lost again.
Hand up. That's on me. I lost all of Dirty Mo Media's parlays this week. It was my leg.
It's the normal faces. I'm your host, Steve Letarte. We got the professor. We got the producer, Trav. We got Tampa Timms. Tampa, it's not that we lost. I'm just thankful that you had to take the bullet because I've had some bad picks. I'll be up there. I'm just going ahead and say it for. Let me just. You know how they say, you guys ever watch Bob Does Sports, right? You're supposed to raise your hand when you do something. You seen that on social? So I'm raising my hand here on this podcast to say I, Steve Letarte, have had some awful, really football picks. So I'll admit it. But not this week. Not this week. This week is Tampa Timms.
Hand up, it's on me. It was on me. Navy minus 10.5 was the worst play. Never had a shot. It was raining for like a day and a half. I should know where Rice is now. I'm sorry. I should know where it is. But I thought we trained these guys in the rain. I thought this was going to be different.
Well, this weren't the Navy SEALs. This was just Navy. They'd have been the SEALs, you'd have had a chance.
That's what I'm saying. Close enough, I thought. But nope. So we'll take the L. We were due for an L. We'll take it.
I'm going to tell you, though, the Letarte parlay with the spread and the Letarte moneyline parlay both rang the bell. If you've never listened in the Letarte parlay, we have Syracuse. Mrs. Letarte, Syracuse grad. We have Northwestern, where little Letarte's hanging out. And we have Vandy, where the professional frat kid hangs out. So we have all three covered.
That sounds like a sweet gig.
Hey, Russ. We are.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. We had a rough day.
Where's this damn tattoo?
Yeah, where's that tattoo?
Let's see it.
So they got a tattoo, but it looked too small on my biceps, so they had to order a new one.
We're going to get this tattoo on him.
Hey, Russ is a little sensitive. You know why?
Because dinner's around the corner.
Oh, we're 48 hours. Hold on, let me look at the time. We are 48 hours and 23 minutes away from Seafood Tower.
So this is no lie. I just had to pay my credit card bill just to make sure it doesn't get declined on Thursday.
I'm going to be handing away Seafood Tower shrimp on the way out of there because Russ is paying. I'm going to tell you, we're not going to leave any food. There's nothing's going to be the waste. We're either going to leave it for the kitchen staff, which is a lot of places you can do that. You can like buy around for the kitchen. Have you ever all seen that on the menu?
I haven't, but that's cool.
Yeah, so there's some places, Tampa, this is a good move, actually. You could buy around for the kitchen. It's like, I'm going to make this up. $50, and they, goes in a pool, and they all have drinks after work. So Russ is definitely buying around for the kitchen.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have to. Maybe
for
two.
Sure. We're not going to be rude. Plus, we're an early res because we have evening attire after that. We have something to do with NBC after that. So we're going to be the first round for the kitchen. There's no doubt about it. Well, we're here, guys. How'd we do this weekend, Tampa?
Pretty good. I live bet Blaney to win.
It was a damn great race. A-plus Martinsville, Goodyear, everybody else involved. It's the best race we've seen.
Speaking of Goodyear, what did you think of the tires? Because I think because of everything that happened, the tires everyone's kind of forgotten about.
So I don't think it was that they wore out and did all that stuff. Here's the thing. New tires had value, which means, you had to consider coming to take two tires. You just forced the crew chiefs into deciding. So last year, Ryan Blaney won on 3 stops, the minimal amount of pit stops to run the race. There was not even any thought. It was basically how could you stay on the racetrack the longest, which I do appreciate that at times, but that's not short track racing. That's not what the place was sold out for. So the tires, I'm in the middle. Like some guys want the tires to have more value. I disagree. I think if they're so grippy that you have to put on new tires, then it turns into Darlington and you just take 4 tires every time. I think the fact that some guys decided to stay out, like at the end of the race, you had Larson and Willie B stay out on old tires, and that made it good because as they were slipping and sliding, new tires came. I thought it encouraged passing, so I liked it.
Being there, I don't know if it's just because I haven't been to the track in a while. The right side of everybody's car had the rubber marks just plastered, and you could see it bright as day all the way from up top. Like, it was crazy. I've never seen that before.
It was way more obvious than I've seen in quite some time. Can I go ahead and just talk about the elephant in the room and get it behind us?
Floor is yours, Senator.
Amazing race. In the last 30 laps, we had 3 must-wins are not accurate. Chase Elliott was a must-win. Kyle Larson was looking for a walk-off win, and Ryan Blaney did have a walk-off win. But in the last 30 laps, 3 walk-off wins all led the race. Really 4, because Byron at one point was leading the race as well. So you have 4 of the 5 or 6 that need, it was amazing. It was everything a guy was looking for. Then we had this unfortunate situation of Bell up against the wall coming to the checkered. I agree with NASCAR. I don't love the rule, but I didn't come up with the rule. The sport came up with the rule.
The
After
drivers
Ross
agreed to it.
Huh?
The drivers agreed to it.
Yeah, and I actually agree. After Ross Chastain and looking at the vehicle data and what the driver had to put up with, and the fact it's actually not even as much that as it obsoletes some racetracks. Like you'd have to move the crossover gate at Martinsville. You would have if that car catches the crossover gate and something goes in the stands, that isn't cool. So anyway, there's a rule that says you can't do that. And as much as I hate it, I don't think Bell went in there on purpose to ride the wall. But that's where he ended up, and that's what he did. And I think NASCAR made the right call there. As much as I hate an official getting involved, you have to sometimes, right? And that is it. If a guy steps out of bounds, whether you like it or not, the rules are the rules. They're there for everyone. So the checker flag falls. Bell and Byron are tied. Bell owns the tiebreaker. They look at this and they say, no dice. We're going to penalize you to the end of your lap, which would have been fascinating if he was the only car 1 lap down. Think about that, Professor. It wouldn't even have moved him. But he loses 4 spots because there are 4 guys. That's the difference. That moves Byron through. Now, the frustrating part is all of this was even a story because there was a bunch of games being played out on the racetrack. Now, I'm not going to stand here on a soapbox and tell you that games haven't been played on the racetrack since the beginning of time. This just happens all the time. But they rarely, if ever, fail the eye test. Can we just talk like normal people? We don't need data. We don't need lap times. Come on. Let's just listen to the radios and open our eyes. That's like the eye test, right? So here's the eye test. We have William Byron slipping and sliding, backing up on old tires. Guys are running them down. They're going to go by him. All of a sudden, 2 Chevys get behind them. They park it side by side. Nobody else can go by, and they look like they're running blocker, like they're having a police escort through the fans, right? So I'm saying this looks a little funny. Then I read the transcription, and I read all these things about, hey, he can't lose a spot, he can't this, he can't that. I thought it looked funny. At the same time, Christopher Bell needs a point, and Bubba Wallace has a mechanical issue or a flat tire or some sort of complaint over the radio. Now, 10 laps earlier, they told him the point situation for the 20. 5 laps later, they told him where on the straightaway the 20 was. So I'm not here to assign guilt, but I believe it had to be looked into. NASCAR has looked into it. They've now suspended an executive, the crew chief, and the spotter from all 3 teams, fined them all $100,000, and took 50 points away. I think the teams have all appealed. Depending on when you listen to this, I'm not going to guess whether the appeal goes one way or another, but that's kind of where we're at. Why this matters to me is this, and I'll take it to the most basic principle of basic principles. I'm a big believer that sports are here for the fan. For John Smith, who buys a ticket, forget TV. I work in TV. I don't care about TV for a minute. John Smith, who buys a ticket and 3 hot dogs and sits in the front stretch of Martinsville all day long watching that race. He shouldn't have to listen to the radio to get an idea what's going on there. He should just watch the race and be enthralled and be entertained. And when the competition becomes not authentic, which is basically what NASCAR is saying here, that there was some sort of manipulation of the finish, or what would you call it, Professor? What was the wording? It was a conduct violation, right?
Yeah, but I would say manipulation of the finish is spot on.
So,
the penalty was NASCAR member conduct.
But I'm sorry, John Smith race fan should be number 1. Number damn 1. And I know it's big business, and I get it, and I get it all. And like I said, there has been 1,000 examples of people, maybe you let a guy go, maybe you do this, maybe you do that. But we have taken this to the, this was just egregious, in my opinion, and it failed the eye test. I don't care about the details. It failed the eye test.
Yeah, we saw at the Roval, Denny on the radio saying, tell Kyle I'll give him the spot at the end. And, when we've seen it other places, but this was to another degree. And when if you lose the trust of the fans, that's not good.
Yeah, look, if Denny wants to pass a guy or give a spot back, drivers make decisions in their car all year long. They take care of people to take care of him. I mean, that's working relationships and management, and that's part of racing. But when there are instructions about the scenario on the radio, that seems a little more over the top than just the drive. Like, if it was so obvious, why'd you have to say something on the radio? Like, if it was just,
This was more manufacturer-led is what it seemed.
When I read the radios, I believe that there is more involved than just what we see out the window, which that becomes my issue. I think remember the 100% rule, that was a joke. Like all that stuff is like can we just use common sense? Why do we have to start throwing around ridiculousness? Let's just use common sense. Like I don't care if, Chase Elliott's racing one day and he's like, man, Larson's been good to me all day long and I'm going to cut him some slack at the end of this stage. All right. It's been happening forever. But I think what we saw on Sunday went over and above that. That's my opinion. Professor, agree? You were in the booth. Agree or disagree?
Totally agree.
So NASCAR looked into it. Penalties came out. It's not my job to assign guilt or innocence. That's NASCAR's job. Same people that had to judge Christopher Bell's move.
I think they also have to handle it differently than they used to because of what this podcast is about and sports gambling.
So that's another great question, right? Because now we are on here telling people to bet on NASCAR, or not telling them, but advising them if they so choose. And I feel like, you got to, there's a reason I don't bet on Division II small sport somewhere I don't know if it's authentic, right? When I place a wager this weekend on the great football university of Vanderbilt, I believe I'm going to watch two football teams try to beat each other. I'm not trying to see somebody shave some points or cut your spread or come on, man. We got it. Sports are in today's world of bullshit, can we not leave sports alone? Can sports just be who's better at what they do? That's my rant. I get frustrated because it's a sport I love. I'm not so ignorant that doesn't think it happens, right? I'm good with it. Even taking care of a teammate. But man, this is RCR, 2311, and Trackhouse, and the benefactor is Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports. I'm like, oh, man, this is starting to get a little too ugly.
Also, don't be so stupid with your words on the radio. At least be a little clever. I know you hate code words, Steve, but...
Well, so I'm going to take everybody for their face value because some say there was nothing going on. So, okay, I'm not going to call him a liar. Like I said, guilt or innocence isn't my responsibility.
But
it's NASCAR's.
The 16 team literally said this comes from Chevrolet. Come on, people.
So that was and here's the worst part. We're talking about the where we should be talking about that Ryan Blaney was a badass. The reigning champ basically started, not to mention it went green and then caution because the tire was bouncing through 3 and 4. We didn't even get into that. So Ryan Blaney loses some spots because of this restart that should have never restarted, and yet he still put him up on the dash and drove his ass on a track where nobody could pass for the last 5 races. His ass drove up and took it. Can we please celebrate badass when it happens? Just like Tyler Reddick. Here's the thing. We should be celebrating Joey Logano, badass at Las Vegas. Tyler Reddick, double badass.
Hold on.
Oh, I disagree, man. He won. He outthought everybody.
Badass is not fuel mileage, Steve.
I disagree.
Big ball Paul.
Thank you. I disagree.
That's not badass, though. But
so let me just get this right. If a guy kicks a field goal to win, you don't want to win the bet because it's not badass enough for you. You need him to run it in on the one.
It's not badass. I'll celebrate, and that they should, and they earn their spot. But let's not call it badass.
Badass. How many trophies do you have?
That's not the point.
Oh, I'm going on my rampage. Hard. Every trophy you win is badass.
But that doesn't make it. No, that doesn't make it badass.
You win to make it into the championship 4 when nobody thought you could.
You can't compare what Reddick did at the end of Homestead.
That's a double badass. I'm giving that double the weight.
And then what Blaney did. You're discounting what they did because Logano had fuel. No. But go on.
Tell you, would you have money on damn Bell? I mean, I can understand if Tampa was going to bitch over here. No. I mean, if Tampa wants to be pissing and moaning about the Bell thing, I would give him some space. But producer Trav ain't getting no space on this one.
I would
hot, boys.
The restart that should have never been was what I was about to.
Oh, did you hear me?
So pissed.
There's a tire bouncing in 3 and 4.
Yes, I did, and I'm like, I can't believe they haven't seen it yet. And that's everybody laughs. They're like, yeah, I can't believe it either. Like,
I don't know where else you're looking. All the cars are left. I'm looking left, and I'm like, huh? There's a tire.
But
that
that's how
should
bad
be connected to a car somewhere.
That's how badass the movie was, though, because he got pushed back 2 spots, 3 spots,
He
whatever
did?
it was, and then still drove straight to the front. He had a rocket ship. It was
awesome.
badass.
It was
It
awesome.
was.
And you want some money? Let's circle back around. How we doing the bets?
I did win some money there. We also had Chase Elliott, top Chevy. Those were the big winners. Got killed in the margin of victory. What was it? Over 2 seconds, I think was the final one.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. Long run to the finish. So instead of one of those guys slowing down, you needed him to back into the fence and bring out a yellow. You were looking
Yeah.
for total other manipulation.
Yeah, I needed him to kind of like go back to Chase, be like, I don't want to win by too much, I don't want to kill you.
All right.
But
I like
that's
that.
all right. I'll take 2 out of 3.
I look at the board this week. We got odds, and I see there's some shaded out areas. We had so much fun on the over-under predictor. So here we are, championship weekend, championship 4. If the 4 championship drivers aren't in Tier 1, then I don't even know what we're doing here. But go ahead, Professor. I'll give you the floor before I completely laugh you off the pod.
Guess what? They're not. They're not. Tier 1, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, William Byron.
I want to disagree with him, but son of a it all makes sense.
So Ryan Blaney's your champion. Just like I said last week that Ryan Blaney was going to win his way in, just so you know.
When did you say that?
Him and Tim said it.
You asked
I must
about...
have blocked that out.
Yeah.
You asked for our predictions. You said it was going to be the same 4. I said Larson. They said Blaney.
I conveniently, we've been working together long enough. It's like we're married. I only hear the parts I want to hear.
I also had Bell in there, so I was wrong about that. But.
All right, Bell, Blaney, Larson, Hamlin, Byron. You have Blaney and Byron in Tier 1.
Yep. No brainers.
Even though Byron struggled so much in the spring?
Yeah, just whatever. What else he's done here, and on light tracks.
So Blaney's got to feel good because he was great at St. Louis.
Yeah, and
What
Blaney's...
tracks? You don't ask me what tracks to bundle in anymore. What'd you throw in here, buddy?
Because I had it from the spring, bud.
Would you throw Iowa in this kind of mix?
I do.
Without asking, I would have said Iowa, New Hampshire, St. Louis, probably Richmond.
Richmond. That's what I have in there, bud. Blaney's been top 5 in the last 6 at Phoenix. Runner-up 3 of the last 4.
I have to agree. God, I hate agreeing. I thought we could have really split on some decisions here, but all right, Tier 2.
Tier 2 is Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, then Joey Logano, and Chris Buescher.
All right, before we talk betting odds to win, can we have a discussion here? I said last year was going to be a championship driver, no doubt. Ross, the boss, proved me wrong. I want to make the same statement again. I think one of the 4. But with that said, Bell's a monster, Larson's a monster, Hamlin's a monster. But like Bell, I mean, there isn't a Joe Gibbs car in it. So does that mean Bell could care less?
That's what I think happens.
I see your point here.
I think he goes out and stomps him.
Yeah. I think Hamlin. Hamlin's going to help.
There's something
45.
to that. I have to admit. Sorry, Timms.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying that. I don't know. That's not a hard sell for me.
Yeah. I mean, I had Bell and Hamlin kind of same. I think they both could care enough to win, but then Hamlin's going to help Reddick, so I think you kind of eliminate him. And Bell, he's pissed. I think I'd be pissed. I'm going to stomp them, say I would have won the championship, and that's it.
And I think Hamlin's exhausted. Man, he has worked his guts out this year, and it just wasn't good enough. Not him, but just everything, right? Team. Look, everybody can't be a winner. That's what makes so great about winning.
He's going to care enough, though, to Tim's point. If he can do something to make life miserable for another driver to help out Reddick, you got to believe he's going to do that.
Man, we got a lot going on here. All right, Blaney 4-1, Bell 5-1, Byron 6-1. Highlighted it, but in different colors. Please speak up, Timms. You have the floor.
I got Bell and not Bell. I got Byron and Blaney. I think the two they're going to fight for the championship. While I think Bell's going to throw a wrench in there, and I like Russ's highlight there, I feel like if you're picking him to win the championship for this one race, I think you got to pick him to win too. And the better odds to win the race than the championship. So that's my angle.
Speaking of that, Tim's, and see if I got a question. If you're holding any championship bets pre-season or whenever, how do you think about cashing out or riding it?
It's a good question, and I haven't really had like a straight answer. I like taking a profit. If you have an insane cash out, take it. But I do love Blaney to win, so it's hard for me to sit there and tell somebody with a Blaney win ticket at plus 2,400 to cash that out when I think he's going to win. But I like the profits I've seen is 3 times your money. I don't know how you say no to that.
So if it's 3 times your money, it's only 4 times your money if you bet him to win the race. So I would take 3 times your money and just celebrate. Unless you had unless you had to have 2 losing tickets, right? Like,
yeah.
Just win a bet. The guy that trained me to gamble said just win a bet.
There's one name missing in the championship 4 that I don't think we've said yet.
Damn, you got the old tier 3. Go ahead, tier 3.
Tier 3, Tyler Reddick. Truex, Reddick, Bubba, Keselowski, Chase Briscoe, Josh, Barry, and Alex Bowman.
I thought we lost you right there for a minute on the Josh. There was such a pause. I looked up, wanted to make sure you were still okay. I thought when you said Josh, it hit you that you had Martin Truex Jr. 3rd tier in this final race. I thought that's what happened right there.
He
goes,
froze.
Holy shit, he was supposed to be higher.
Adam P1.
Why is Reddick so low?
He ran well here in the spring, but his numbers here are just not any good. So he's that's where he should be numbers wise, other than his spring finish, and like tracks. He's just not more of a short track guy. Disagree, Stevie?
I don't. I think this is going to be a good battle, but I think you have it right. I just think Blaney this year at this style of track has been the best.
So do you think Logano winning that first race, does that help Blaney at all? Does any of that stuff translate to his car and everything? No. Okay.
Why not? Wouldn't they? I mean, Team Penske is the best at sharing information, working together. So wouldn't?
Because I don't think this is information you can share. I think it's information you're absorbing. I think they both have the same amount of information. Just Logano's team has had longer to absorb the information. My point being, like, they know the car they're running longer. They've had more time to work on it. They can physically spend more time in the simulation, not to learn stuff, but to get reps. So I don't think it's like a more or less information. I think it's time with the information. It's like studying for a test. So you and I have a test. I get the material 3 weeks out. Then a week out, you have the test. I give you all my material. You have the same material, but I've had 2 weeks to look at it. So I don't think it's the material that's the advantage. It's the time with the material without the distraction. Now the counter is Blaney. I do think has momentum. I think he could have won Homestead, took the disappointment to Martinsville, and whipped everyone's butt. And I think that is real. Like,
how much does experience come into play? You've got Blaney, defending champion, Logano's 2-time, and then you got Byron, he's been there but younger, and then Reddick, this is his first.
So I don't know if it's as much about winning it as it's been being there. I think Logano's been there 6 or 7 times, won it twice. I think Blaney was just there last year. It's fresh. I think Byron's been there a couple times. So I think all those guys feel good about it. Reddick, I think, is excited to be there, but I think everything is new to him. So I do think that's a disadvantage. I mean, even from media day to day, right? He doesn't know what to expect. He hadn't had to do it yet. Like, just all of those things. Logano mentioned today, and it's super interesting. He's like, when you make the championship 4, he goes, I had to figure out travel and friends. He goes, hell, I had to get a suite to get all my buddies. And, like, those are the things you don't think about, but they're real. You hear it from players when they make the Super Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, the quarterback has somebody to handle it, so you would hope the driver does. But I think they still get, brothers and cousins and sisters, and everybody wants to be there, and it's like you're thankful they're coming. You don't want it to sound like it's a distraction, but somebody has to handle it still. Not everybody can just ignore requests like Professor. I mean, these drivers, they're going to have to answer.
I thought Professor has people that take care of that.
He does. Only a few of us have his direct line.
Only with the picks.
What else, Tim's? Any top 5s or top 10s?
I do have 2 top 5s. Just, the pre-race lines, plus 105, plus 140, Logano, Reddick. Listen, I'm just taking the angle of like they're the Champ 4 guys. In theory, should be 1 through 4, right? Not always the case. Might not be the case. I don't like Reddick's numbers here, but I mean, listen, they should be close. They should be 1 through 4. Might as well take a plus money flyer on them.
What about top tens?
I highlighted a few, Briscoe and Buescher, based off their numbers at Phoenix. And also Briscoe, last ride for Stewart Haas Racing, could be a cool story. Listen, this race is just so hard to pick who's actually going to, I don't want to say care, because I feel like most of them do care, but, it's the last race, so you're thinking about your trip that you're going to take after. That's a tough place for me to put money on, but 2-1 odds for those two guys that are really good here. I think they both should care. I'll take a shot at that.
You're right. Like who's thinking Cancun on 3?
Exactly. It's tough, and I think Buescher and Briscoe have been out for a little bit here. They could get let's finish the season strong, but I mean, there's a lot of drivers I can make a case that I wouldn't even touch because how are they mentally going to be there?
Who just highlighted that top 10?
Let's get right over this finishing position, because this is going to circle back around to Bowman.
Harrison Burton.
All right, so here's the game. If you didn't listen last week, the odds are over under, and we normally would tell you what we think it is, like as far as bet under, bet over. But now we have yet to see the odds. I think the professor has them and wrote them down. He's just not going to tell us. But we were shockingly close last week. So before we decide which side we want to bet on, let's figure out the number. Harrison Burton over under. Professor, you can start.
I'm going, because this is what I think they've been doing. I'm going straight average finish. So 27. 27. Do I have to go half? 27 and a half.
I'll go 24.5.
Qualified better last week. That moved it down one click. It's 26.5.
27.5.
Straight average finish.
Boom.
What do we think? Harrison Burton, over, under, or avoid?
Over. And he was fast last week, and he broke. He was going to run like 10th or 12th. Like, this kid's snake bit. Last run with the Wood Brothers. Like, we're talking about where he finished, not where he's going to run. He's going to run better than 27.5. But first of all, they changed tires with a 4-way. I mean, they lose. They're not good on pit road. I'm sorry. I'll just say it like it is. They're bad on pit road. So I'm taking the over.
All right. Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
I hate to be ugly, Tampa, but we're too far in the season to be nice.
I agree. I was going to say over. I don't see anything that says under.
Come on, Professor. Ricky Stenhouse, Mr. Average Finish.
So I'm going to do his average in the last 10 races there. So it's going to be 24th. So 23 and a half.
I'll go 24.5.
I think that's. I think they like him better than that. I'm going to say 22.5.
Survey says 23.5.
Ooh.
It's 2 for 2 if you're counting.
Says
And
the
I
guy
would
that,
go.
You gave
says
him
the
the
guy
course.
that Russ claims he looked away before I covered him up.
I did not look at them. I swear to you.
Daniel Suarez.
Hold on. Over, under, or avoid?
I'm avoiding.
I agree. I would avoid this one.
If he runs, he's going to be right around his number.
All right. Daniel Suarez.
I'm going to go 16.5.
So if you go the last 10 rule, it's like 18 and a half.
I think Suarez's number is, what'd you say, Tampa?
16.5.
I had 17.5.
Survey says 17.5.
Oh, my God. I don't think I've hit 1 in 2 weeks.
Over, under, or avoid?
Man, this is a good one. I would go over.
I
I
agree.
got no real opinion here.
Bubba Wallace.
I have Bubba over under 14.5.
I was going to say 12.5, so I'll go with 12.5. I had him pretty low.
I think it's like 17 and a half.
Survey says 14.5.
Wow.
Somebody else looked. It's bull.
So,
Imagine how accurate I'd be if I had stats.
Stephen Timms, is there a way that you can bet this and his top 10 and make money?
Ooh. Let me see his top 10. Hang on.
Bubba's top 10 is plus 250.
Of course.
That's a good one.
It's a 4-spot buff. It's a 4-spot zone here.
Yeah.
We usually do 3 spots.
1 unit on a top 10 that pays 2.5 units. Then you put 1.5 units on the over.
And it would have only lost 1 time in 13 trips to Phoenix.
Lock it in. Lock it in. That is the bet of the week.
Folks, bet it now because this will not hang around.
Yes.
The average finishing position will disappear.
Former playoff driver Austin Cindric. Professor, I'll let you have the floor since you got a little cold streak on Suarez and Wallace.
He forgot. He memorized the top 2.
Yeah,
And then
before he closed it out, he got to get the top 2 memorized.
Yeah. He's terrible here. I don't know. 22.5.
I was going to go 23.5.
No, it's way lower. It's like 19.5.
survey says 15.5.
Yeah.
What?
I
That's
knew it was
over.
way lower.
Okay. Well, you said you like 3 spots. What about 5 spots?
I don't
That's
like
an
him to finish top 10.
That's an automatic over. You don't even bet the top 10. You just
Yeah.
bet the automatic over.
You bet all the units you were going to do that to split it and just put it on the over.
His last 3 here have been 36th, 35th, 25th.
Now, he did win St. Louis.
He was fast, too, at St. Louis. Really fast.
But he's the 3rd Penske car. The other 2 are in the Champ 4. I doubt that he's got the first grade stuff.
Where is he in the points? How far can he move in the points?
He is 4 points out of 10th.
And every spot's, I forget how much.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's 6 figures.
And we don't mean like 1,000 and change. We mean 6 without the decimal. we mean just take the change off and it's 6 figures.
Doesn't change my opinion. He's over. Who's he fighting with?
In points, Truex is
Yeah.
ahead of him.
Oh, boy. Talk about a Sunday drive. Man, that's gonna be
Truex
a
is already in
Sunday drive.
Cancun, man. That boy mentally is. Whew. Are you going to cry on Sunday, Russ?
He normally does in the last race. Just going to be for different reasons this year.
Does the fan club have like a thing, or you got a shirt made? Where we at?
We still have the Daytona 500 next year.
Where'd you get that shirt, by the way?
He made it.
I didn't make it. They gave these out. You didn't get one?
I don't get one.
Mike Davis sent it to me.
We know who Mike's favorite is. Jesus.
I think we have to go in the props category for a minute. Drivers not completing 156 laps. So just follow me here. Entry list, Professor. Please go to the bottom.
Yeah, there's some struggles here.
44, 66,
Yeah, 50,
50.
84.
Let's say their names for the people that don't.
I'm going to have Professor read them out.
Yeah, Professor. Let's hear.
84 is Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah. JJ Yaley in the 44. Jeb Burton in the 50. Chad Fincham in the 66.
All I'm saying is the over 1.5 not completing 156 laps is plus 165. Now, forget those 4 even in the race, right? I mean, I'm going to think you could get a wreck. Like, people could wreck at this point. So, plus you put one of those guys in there that could have a mechanical issue. This is a 300 and what lap race?
12.
So you need basically 2 guys to not run half the laps. I think I got to take the over. Professor's going to tell me the numbers say that they all are going to run, but I still like the over. Lead changes, I like over there as well.
Lead changes I like better than drivers to lead a lap. I could see 2 guys switching back and forth maybe.
All right, well.
Anything else?
Oh, no, it's time.
Well, hold on. So we don't have Xfinity and truck, but if you had to handicap the
It's Justin Allgaier's race to lose as fast as he is in Phoenix. Now in the spring, he went ahead and did lose it. He ran over something and cut a left rear tire with 5 to go with like a 3-second lead. When I say lose it, this poor guy, like a meteor hit him. Like there's zero he was on a Sunday drive off into the distance and the left rear tire goes flat. I feel awful for him. So it's his to lose as speed. I think the next favorite is the 00. I think he just has heavy swagger, defending champ. I like that. A great parlay if you love defending champs, as a 0-0 Ryan Blaney parlay, just because I bet the book will have it. It's probably like a cool odd. But I mean, that's my handicap. What do you think, Professor?
Nope, you got it.
The only argument might be Almirola for the Owners' Championship.
What about Trucks?
Trucks is going to be a Corey Heim, Christian Eckes battle.
And Eckes has pissed the world off, so I'd take Heim.
Yeah, but nobody can do anything that stupid, or can they find ways to force him into mistakes?
I don't think Taylor Gray cares.
That finger point said, "I'm gonna wreck you," basically, or I'm gonna something.
Does he want to fine from NASCAR though? That's the other
I don't know. His grandfather has 9 figures. Remember the 6 conversation? His grandfather has 9.
We're still no decimal points.
No decimal.
No, all with commas. So
I don't think he's going to do it this year. I think he'll do it next year for sure.
I mean, really, Professor is the truck guy, so I'm going to leave it up to him. He knows better than me.
Revenge is a meal best served cold.
Yeah, I just don't think he's going to be in position. I think Eckes is going to be fast as can be.
Eckes and Heim, right? Eckes and Heim are going to just toe-to-toe.
Yeah.
All right, boys, it's time. Degenerate 4-pack.
Sunday, 4:25.
I got 3:30 Saturday.
Professor, when does yours lose?
Sunday, 8:20.
I am on Saturday at noon.
All right, you're first. I swear to God, if you say Vanderbilt, we are allowed to veto it.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
What is it, Steve?
Texas team total, over 7 touchdowns. I mean, over 5 touchdowns.
Boom.
They're going to score 7, but I only need 5.
I feel better. When you said 7, my heart about jumped down my
Well, I'm going to
chest.
ask y'all's opinion. The game total's 48. I like Texas team total over 34.5.
Yeah, I like the team total. I don't. Florida's quarterback weirds me out.
And the line's 21.5, and I don't like that because I like 34.5 over team total.
That's a good number. I'm sticking with what works. I'm going Indiana. I'm going to buy it down a little bit. I don't want to lose. So I'm going to go -6.5.
Holy you're buying it down at 2, how much you buying it down?
Touchdown. They're 13.5 point favorites. You don't think so?
No wonder I'd lose these bets because you guys.
I know.
I can go 13.5.
No, don't listen to Steve. All right, Russell. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Well, I can't do that. Detroit Lions -3.5 over the Texans.
Well, hold on. What, you didn't even let me give my bet out yet. You just skipped me.
You just said my name.
I said Russell, fly, Eagles, fly.
Oh.
Give me the Eagles versus the Cowboys. Knock it down to -6.5. I believe it's at 7 right now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, move that to 6.5, please. Russell, it's your turn.
You guys all went regular.
Oh, that's all you have to say. Detroit Lions -3.5 over the Texans. Sunday night, 8:20.
What's my reasonable buy down numbers? I mean, I like the bet, but let's just conversate on what kind of value I'm looking at.
You could get over 27.5 at -340.
And 28.5 is 280. 265 is 29. 30 is -230.
30. Make it 30.
You want 30?
29.5 or 30.5? You can't get 30.
29.5. I got to be on the winning side of this.
Steve don't want to ruin this at noon.
That's how I felt.
That's
I don't want
that's
really
freaking 10 a.m. in Phoenix. I can't have a 10 a.m. loss in Phoenix.
What was yours, Tim?
I'm going to still be full from
5:35.
Thursday night. Huh?
I had Indiana -6.5, but now I feel like I should move it up a little bit.
Well, what's the odds of our parlay?
What's the number?
Plus 535.
Oh, that's enough.
I'm good
5.5.
with
I
that.
think so. Okay.
We just need to win.
Yes, I agree. So Texas team total over 29.5. Indiana -6.5. Eagles -6.5 against the Cowboys, and Lions -3.5 against the Texans.
I think the Cowboys are going to get us.
I mean, Dak Prescott is hurt. CeeDee Lamb's hurt. Ezekiel didn't travel
the
for.
Eagles are like.
Yeah, but do you see Saquon? He's like in his zone.
Yeah, the Eagles will win, but they'll get backdoor covered, just like last week. That's my fear. But with no Dak, I kind of feel better about it.
Yeah. Micah Parsons, if he's not like We got this.
All right, there you have it. The Degenerate 4-pack is out. We have any other big bets this weekend? No, I don't mean to blow right through football. You know I'm on the Letarte bet again.
It's us taping on Tuesday. I haven't really dove into the football yet.
Fair. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's here. Championship race. NASCAR heads west.
Wait, who wins?
Who wins what?
Championship.
So I have no idea. Joey Logano's a 2-time champ, or I think it's a Penske car. I don't know.
Blaney wins.
Who do y'all have, Professor?
Blaney.
Professor says Blaney.
Bell wins the race.
I hate to agree. I like Blaney. Back-to-back champ.
We should be thankful that it's really hard to pick. I think it's. I don't know. I'm going to say Logano because I want to see a guy win his third. I think it's a special moment. I got to be out there for the call of the race. Only 9 guys have ever won more than 2. I got a stat for you. Ready? 2,996 drivers have taken green flags in NASCAR Cup Series races, and only 9 have won more than 2 championships. So if Joey Logano wins his third, 0.03%.
Russ, that's a hell of a stat you gave, Steve.
Really is.
It's a Russell derivative, but it wasn't from him.
Either way, we got a 3-time champion, back-to-back champion, 2 first-timers.
Give me Byron.
I don't think you're bad with that bet. I mean, I don't mean to waffle, but I really don't. You know me. I've had an opinion, I'd tell you. But I don't know. I think, how about this? I'd say this. The surprise for me would be Reddick. I do think Reddick at Phoenix, he would be the surprise. But even he could do it. I mean,
I have one more question for you. How soon in this race do you know if someone has a car, or can their car get better in this race or not? Or like, what's something that people can look for?
But you know quickly who can't. Like, you start the weekend, you think somebody has an advantage because they're really good in practice, they qualify good. I think by lap 100, it's down to a 3-man race normally. And then sometimes it's a 3-man race all the way to the final pit stop. All we could ask for is that there's a caution with 50 to go, and these 4 guys come down to pit road and come off 1 through 4. I mean, that's what the fan deserves, to be honest. And it's going to be a hell of a race. And I hope all the people in the back, I don't want to see a guy get wrecked running 22nd for the caution to come. Like, let it just.
Yeah. All right, now you can wrap.
All right, here we go. NASCAR heads west. It's a big week. Championship weekend. Truck Series on Friday. That's right, Truck Series on Friday. Professor on the coverage. Xfinity on the CW on Saturday. Then NBC, the big show, leading into Sunday Night Football. We're going to crown a champion at the Cup level. Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick in the championship 4. Will one of those 4 win it, or will it be a Christopher Bell walk-off and put a big smile on Tampa's face? Only time will tell. Get all your bets in, and may all your bets pay off.